welcome back to my YouTube channel, your girl, Coach Korry. This is the place to inspire, motivate, and impact. And as you can see, I'm having a good time. I hosted a breakfast event in Nairobi, and I just kind of want to take you along, show you what it was like. And we ate, for sure. We ate probably more than we should have, but it was all good. And I had a great opportunity to meet some fabulous ladies. And I'm gonna let you get in on some of what we're talking about. So let's get started.
Please stand up. I want whoever gets this to earn it. Okay. Okay, whoever wins this goes home with a nice prize all the way from Dallas, Texas. Okay. Simon says touch your head. Simon says touch your belly. Simon says smile. Simon says sit down. Simon says stand up. Touch your head. If you touch your head just sit down. Wow, Coach Korry. When I say free, you try and break the finger and try not to get caught. So you release your finger as you try and catch your release your finger. Understood? Let's do a trial run. Okay. 1, 2. Yeah, 2. Put the palm on your 3. You get it. Okay, that is a trial run. Now let's do the real thing. Ready, ladies? And if you get caught, you just sit down. Okay? Right. Ready? Yes. 1, 2, 3. If you got caught, please sit down. I got my 3 slices of bread. Who got caught?
I got caught.
Now, ladies, we have just sung. We have just sung a beautiful song, right? I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. And anytime that song is played, like in churches or events, you see we get up and we get so worked up and, we feel, yeah. But I have a question for us. Do we really believe it? Yes. Are we really walking in power? Are we really walking in miracles? Are we really living a life of favor? I love the song myself. But I remember, before I started my personal development journey, I love to dance. In case you don't know, I love to dance. So when I was in high school, I was in dance club. Precious blood were allowed to dance once a week on Sundays, And I used to dance those Michael Jackson styles. And I had like a glove, the whole shaban. I got it, So anytime this song comes up, I would be the one, I'm walking in power, I'm walking in miracles. Then I'll go home and during my prayer time, I'm crying. Because mashida ni mingi. Vitu kwa ground ni different. When I go to my devotion, it reached a point that all I could do. Have you ever reached that point? You can't talk anymore. You can only cry. Because there's a place you can reach. The grief that you're feeling, the burdens that you're carrying are so heavy, and in front of the whole world, you're smiling, you're laughing with everybody. But on the inside, you're dying. And you're just dying one day at a time because you're taking care of everybody else but you. You're carrying everybody else's burdens but you. And then you hear a song like this, and you're like, I'm walking in power, and you're like, yeah. But the reason I remember I used to dance to this song is because that is what I wanted to believe. But that was not my reality. My reality was different. Yeah? And I was just sharing at the table that I wish I knew some of the things that I know now, 20 years ago. I would be a different person. I would have cried less tears. Because at that time, I didn't even know who Korry is. Because Korry had already been defined by society. Korry had already been told, you are too talkative. And so those people in the noisemakers list, I was like number 1. Like if my name is missing, surely there's a problem. Who am I? I am God's workmanship. And when I say I am God's workmanship, that changes the way I see everything, because I'm no longer determined by my gender. My gender is part of the assignment. My gender is necessary for the assignment. And so even if society wants to tell me something different, I know that God needed me to show up as a woman, because he needed me to do certain things, to raise certain children and be a destiny helper to certain people. And I could only do that work if I showed up as a woman. Your eyes are a gate. And when the eyes are the gate to your soul, guess what happens? Yeah? When you look into the mirror, you see the truth. You see the pain. You see the failures. You see the regret. You have no choice but to see it. And I remember the first time I did it, I looked away. I looked like this, and I made myself busy. Or looking at, and then the next step is to look at yourself stark naked. Stark, unatoa kila kitu. Like when you come out of the shower, stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself. Not at ikupitia, not the one at your pakaing oil. No, you stand there and you like, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Will you be singing, I'm walking in power? I'm walking in miracles. You'll be like, hey, that's kapot.
Needs a miracle.
That needs a miracle. Exactly. So you find that we're so quick to blame how other people are dealing with us. But we're not even willing to face ourselves. You know, I'm not, do you know, it took me a while, because like I have 2 children and they came naturally, they are not adopted, which means I have the marks to show. So when I stand in front of the mirror, I see the evidence. So when I see the evidence, I also can see I'm no longer 16. Now right now you're seeing me, you're seeing the cute washed up and everything. But in front of the mirror, you're like, ooh-wee, yes so. But I had to get to that point and be okay. And I realized I was so critical. My kids are the ones who told me how critical I am of myself. I'm always saying I'm too fat. Oh, my legs are this. Oh, it's at my age, I hear when you grow older, you put short hair, you look younger. So I hope it's working. You know. And I realized I was so critical of myself. And in that process, I was speaking to myself those things that I didn't like, instead of speaking to myself those things that I like. So how is it that I'm expecting people to appreciate me, to love me, to treat me well, but I can't do it? I'm saying how fat I am. So I was criticizing myself instead of appreciating myself. So then why should anybody else appreciate me? Do you realize that forms how you talk to other people? And let me share with you my casket moment, because it might help somebody. I couldn't say I couldn't call anybody dad. That word, dad, baba, my father, it could not come out of my mouth. Why? Because my parents separated when I was very young. And so I didn't know I was traumatized from that event. Yeah? And so when I got married, now I was like, now what do you call father-in-law? Where? Mzee. Yeah? And but then for the longest I used to call him, I would enter the room, baby. Yeah. I would not call him until something happened and God brought someone into my life. And that person prayed a father's blessing over me. And this is the one point I want us to understand. You must understand where you are spiritually. If you don't understand where you are spiritually, you will have a problem. Because I didn't know I had a daddy problem, I could not deal with people. I had serious mistrust of men. I had serious issues with men because I saw them as aggressors. They were not to be trusted. And so I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of issues from that experience. What I didn't know is that when you live life like that, you see everyone from the lens of your trauma. So guess what you have to do? You must identify your trauma, ladies. If you don't identify your trauma, you will deal with everyone from the lens of your trauma. Have you ever been conned? Everybody is suspicious. From that point on, everybody is suspicious. But when I identified my trauma, and I was able to now, God help me to deal with it. You have to understand your family altars. You cannot negate family altars. In my family, we had an alcohol problem. As serious. My brother, if he was here, that's when I talk about him openly. Have you ever prayed for someone to die? He had such a bad alcohol problem, we prayed for him to die. He conned people in this Nairobi. To the point we got tired of the phone calls. We prayed, we fasted, we did everything. Now my mom and I just said, you know what? Just take him. My sister had already committed suicide. My sister died at the age of 18. My father died at the age of 37. My parents separated when I was in standard 2. And my dad died in a car accident. Then my sister commits suicide when she's 18. Then my brother is in alcoholism. Are we seeing a pattern? Are you familiar with your family patterns? Because sometimes you could be very well intentioned. You could be doing all the right things. But there are altars that you are fighting. There's something bigger than you that you are fighting. You can't ignore it. I am so blessed that in my family, I remember I went to class and I did theology. And I went for deliverance classes to understand the patterns of families. And when I understood that and I looked at our family, I went to my aunties and to my mother and I said, guys, we have a problem. And when we identified that problem, and here's the other problem, you have to really pray about it because not everybody wants to talk about these things. Because unachimbua makaburi. They want to show like everyone is good. We found that there were things that were done by our grandparents that were not good. So guess what? We prayed and we fasted and we agreed. And my cousins are here, they will attest. We went to Shags and we repented and we raised an altar for Christ. And we separated our family from the ancestral altars that had been raised in that place. We separated ourselves also from the sins of our forefathers. And what are some of those sins? Yeah, there are words those people used to say. Those guys used to talk, eh? And when they say a keyword, it figures. The causal realm is the spiritual realm. Everything first happens in the spiritual realm. And the Bible says everything you need for life and godliness, you were given before the foundations of the earth. So if you're already dreaming it, believing it, I always wanted to talk to people. I had a wedding shop. Do you know how many brides I used to cancel? You come to buy material. I am telling you, I would spend 30 minutes telling you about marriage. And we pray. And you just came to buy material. Because your gift is already, it's there. What I realized is that I loved speaking to people, but I didn't have a platform. And I remember, now let me tell you this story. It's a bit embarrassing. Anybody know Dr. Cindy Trim? Commanding Your Morning. The one was written Commanding Your Morning. She came to Kenya. And so I was part of the group that was praying and interceding and all that. And so she was being hosted by Pastor Kathy Kuna. So I got invited for dinner at the house. So, who is Korry? Nobody knows Korry. But who is Korry? So Korry says, mtanijua leo. So I go to Pastor Kathy. And I tell her, and now she was standing with another friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. So on my way out, I thought, this is my moment. You don't see Pastor Kathy everywhere. So I said, hi Pastor Kathy, how are you? Thank you so much for inviting me. And then I said, and one day, I would love to share my testimony in your church. And of course now, let's just be honest, she doesn't even know who again. But She was very, polite and courteous. But my friend who was with her, and not this friend, the reason I gathered courage is because she was with my friend. Okay, so me, I'm knowing my friend got my back. And my friend knows me. Yeah? My friend told me straight to my face, get your own platform. Have you ever been told? Okay, yes dear. Yeah. We are good. Yeah, good. Yani, I felt like this. I was so offended on so many levels. I told this to my friend the other day. She couldn't even remember it. And the Lord reminded me, it was never my friend talking. It was the Lord. Why am I sharing this? Persistence. If you want something. Now today I have a platform. Amen. And I am making an impact in the lives of women. But God knew that I didn't need to get comfortable on other people. And He had a plan. And I had to learn how to trust the plan. You understand? I had my own. Because I can see Karikuna. We say here in Kenya, mapema ndio best. How do you just see an opportunity like this and you let it? Gratitude is a key that opens doors that is unbelievable. I have seen it. I have seen it in my life. Every morning, I have a gratitude journal and I have 10 things to be grateful for. And if you attend my class, you must have a gratitude journal. Yeah? And every day, you thank God for 5 things that are current and present in your life. And then you thank God for 5 things that you're believing Him for. Yeah? And why do you do that? Because, can you imagine, have you ever given someone something and they are not grateful? Now imagine they come for something else. But what about when you give someone who is grateful? You even want to give them more. Yeah? Isn't that the same attitude we should go with to God? Yeah? Gratitude is a serious key. And here's what I also discovered. You cannot be grateful and toxic. You can't. If you're one or the other. If you're grateful, then you find yourself saying good things about people. Gratitude affects your attitude and it affects your atmosphere. Yeah? And when you have the right atmosphere, then you have the atmosphere for believing, atmosphere for receiving. And so wherever you are in your crisis, wherever you are in your situation, what is your attitude? Are you just waking up in the morning and saying how bad things are? And let me give you an example. I live in the US and I come home. I talk to people in Kenya all the time, every day almost. How is Kenya? By the way, anytime I talk to someone here, I don't hear anything good. Okay. Now someone killed and ate their children. Oh, he's doing this. This one was fasted, he's doing this. Oh. I asked them, can I tell you about life in America? Parents are taking their children to school without knowing whether they'll see those children in the evening. Children are killing children. You go to the supermarket, you may be short because people have gone crazy. You can see it on the news. If they're not having landslides in California, it's burning. Like now summer is coming, it's going to burn. It's guaranteed. It's not that it might, it will. You come closer now as you go across the country, we have tornadoes. We don't even know Kenyan weather is heaven sent. Then you come to Texas where we are, we have hurricanes. If those don't kill you, I was there during Hurricane Harvey. Guy, jiso. Oi! We had water up until the top of the 2nd level. Overpasses and over bridges were filled with water. You can't go anywhere. A hurricane has come in from the sea. You can't stop it. But you're calling people in Kenya and asking them, how are you? And they cannot see anything good in this country. And people in the US are saying they're the greatest country in the world. Tell God thank you for the weather in Kenya. Tell God thank you for political stability. I'm telling you, I just came from Heaven's Gate Prayer Mountain. I have never seen so many people pray in my life. People were coming in buses. Those are the people who are holding this country up. Honestly, me, I didn't even know it's possible.
All the way from Bugoma.
People are coming, people coming from Bugoma to pray for our nation. And you're in your bed, you pray. You pray and you see God. And you penetrate the spirit realm. And you go into, let me tell you, the realm of the spirit is the most ignored. We have ignored the realm of the spirit, and everything we do starts there. That is the birthplace. You are here today because something manifested from that realm. You would not be here. You would not even be alive. Yeah? You must be in touch with the realm of the spirit. And that's why I was saying gratitude. Why? Because gratitude penetrates the realm of the spirit and it allows you to pray under an open heaven. Enter his gates with thanksgiving. Why? That's the first thing God tells us. And his courts with praise. Those two things. The other thing, do you know your season? The crisis that you're in. Do you know the season you're in? I have fought my seasons and I have paid a price. You can't fight a season. Like now, when it's hot, when you wear a sweater, do you not look ridiculous? And even you're uncomfortable. So is your crisis because you're ending a season? Because many times crises are there to redirect us. They are there to redirect us. They are there to teach us. Yeah? And to guide us. And to build our character. A few years ago, Olivia, Irene, and a few of us were given proper character development. We found ourselves in a situation that we had not foreseen. But through that, painful as it was necessary. Today I look back, and much as I hated that situation, and it's probably the most painful situation I have ever experienced in my life, I realized if I had not gone through that, I would not be standing here talking to you. Because today I can hug another woman and tell her I understand. I thought what I had gone through was enough. But I also discovered pain comes in levels. There's just the way, you know how we say from glory to glory. At a pain, pain has levels. Yeah? And you can never know what somebody is going through. And because of going through that pain, I'm not quick to judge. I don't care what you're going through. I don't even care what you're doing with your life. I will not judge you. Because I also know we react differently. And sometimes you're doing that because you're looking for someone, you're looking for help. It's actually a cry for help. You have favored us. We thank you for these premises. You have favored us. We thank you for each other. Indeed, you have favored us. We want to honor you and worship you now and always. In Jesus' name we have prayed.